The story of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, does not begin with his birth. It begins generations before him, long before his name was spoken in Mecca, and long before the world was ready to receive guidance again. Islam does not present lineage as a claim to race, pride, or superiority. Lineage only carries meaning when it carries submission to Allah. For this reason, the lineage of the final messenger, peace be upon him, is traced not merely through blood, but through faith, obedience, and divine preservation across centuries of history. This lineage returns to Prophet Ibrahim, السلام, not because he ruled a nation, not because he possessed power, armies, or wealth, but because he surrendered his will completely to Allah in a world that resisted truth. Ibrahim lived among a people consumed by idol worship. False gods filled their homes, their marketplaces, and their temples. Idolatry shaped their laws, their identities, and their understanding of authority and power. Ibrahim stood against it alone. He challenged beliefs protected by generations of tradition. He questioned falsehood that society had normalized. He shattered idols his people defended with pride and violence. And for speaking the truth, he faced rejection, exile, and threats of death. Yet he did not compromise, because submission to Allah was not conditional upon safety or acceptance. When Allah commanded Ibrahim to sacrifice his own son, the command defied human logic and emotion. This was not cruelty, it was a test of trust. Ibrahim did not argue, he did not delay, he did not negotiate. He submitted without hesitation, placing obedience above love, fear, and reason. Through that submission, Allah established a pattern that would echo through Ibrahim's descendants until the end of time. From this obedience emerged a legacy not measured in land, empire, or conquest, but in faith carried quietly across generations. From Ibrahim came his son Ismail, السلام, born not into comfort or security, but into trial. As an infant, Ismail was carried with his mother Hajar into a barren valley, a land with no water, no crops, no people, and no visible future. That valley would later be known as Makkah. The command to leave Hajar and Ismail there did not come from strategy or human reasoning. It came from Allah. And as Ibrahim turned to leave, Hajar did not panic or protest. She asked only one question: was this commanded by Allah? When she was told that it was, her heart found peace, because obedience to Allah was enough. That moment defined the spirit of this lineage. Trust when logic sees abandonment. Submission when the future appears empty. Reliance when no provision is visible. From this trust, Allah caused Zamzam to flow. From this obedience, life returned to the valley. From this family, guidance would one day return to the world. In that same valley, Ibrahim and Ismail were commanded to build the Kaaba. They raised its foundations with their own hands, not as a palace, not as a symbol of dominance, but as a house dedicated solely to the worship of Allah. A place where humanity would turn as equals, regardless of tribe, lineage, or status, facing one Lord. But as generations passed, memory weakened. Prophets faded from living knowledge. Revelation became distant. Tribes settled around Makkah. Trade routes expanded. Customs shifted. The Kaaba remained standing, but its purpose slowly faded from hearts. Idols returned to the very place built to destroy idolatry. Not suddenly, but gradually. Meaning was replaced with habit. Worship was replaced with ritual. People did not abandon Allah entirely. Instead, they diluted the truth until it no longer challenged them. They claimed closeness to Allah while bowing to intermediaries carved by their own hands, seeking convenience instead of submission. Yet Allah did not forget his promise. The lineage of Ibrahim would remain preserved, unbroken, and protected. Between Ismail and Muhammad, peace be upon him, came many generations. Some names are recorded in history, others are known only to Allah. In Islam, recognition does not determine worth. Allah's pleasure does. Islamic scholars affirm that Allah protected the direct lineage of the Prophet, peace be upon him, from major immorality. Though idol worship spread across Arabia, this lineage was not absorbed into it. They did not publicly preach monotheism, but they were preserved from bowing to idols and from violating sacred values. Allah does not place his final messenger into a corrupted chain. He prepares hearts long before revelation touches tongues.
But the path is clear for those who seek truth.
By the time history reached the tribe of Quraysh, the groundwork had already been laid. Mecca became central in Arabia, not through empire or conquest, but through trust and position. Quraysh became custodians of the Kaaba. They organized pilgrimage, They protected travelers. They controlled trade routes north to Syria and south to Yemen. Wealth flowed into Mecca, and with wealth came influence. But wealth hardens hearts. Leadership slowly became entitlement. Honor became routine. The sacred became familiar, and familiarity bred neglect. The Kaaba stood at the center, but hearts drifted away from its meaning. Within Quraysh, Allah chose a specific clan, Banu Hashim.
The route through the valley is vulnerable.
But the coastal path takes too long. We must secure the wells here.
They were not the wealthiest. They were not the most powerful. They were known for generosity. They fed pilgrims when others withheld. They protected the weak when others turned away. Character mattered, and Allah chose this house for his final messenger. From Banu Hashim came Abdul Muttalib, a man of dignity and wisdom, respected across Arabia, not feared but trusted.
We greet you with honor and respect.
Welcome.
He upheld the sanctity of the Kaaba. He rejected injustice. He defended the vulnerable. Before revelation, there was protection. Before the message, there was preparation. And before the Prophet, peace be upon him, would be born, Allah would display his power openly. To the south of Arabia, in Yemen, power had shifted. The ancient Himyarite rule had fallen, and Abyssinian forces had taken control. This foreign rule introduced political tension and religious rivalry into the region. The Abyssinians followed Christianity and were backed by the Byzantine world. Their presence was not only political, but religious. They sought influence across Arabia and understood one truth clearly. The Kaaba held unmatched authority among Arab tribes. Whoever controlled pilgrimage controlled Arabia's spiritual heart. Among the Abyssinians rose a man named Ibrahim.
The caravan from the north should arrive by nightfall.
Provided the winds remain calm across the route.
Ambitious and determined, he sought legitimacy and dominance. Ibrahim built a massive church in Sana'a, intending to redirect pilgrimage away from Mecca. This was not merely an act of worship, it was a declaration of power. But Arabia did not respond. Their hearts remained tied to the house built by Ibrahim. When Ibrahim realized his effort had failed, pride turned into rage. He resolved to destroy the Kaaba itself, to erase its authority forever and force Arabia to submit. Ibrahim gathered a massive army, reinforced with elephants, creatures never before seen in Arabia. Elephants were not merely weapons, they were symbols of unstoppable imperial power. Their size alone inspired fear. Their presence shattered morale before a battle even began. As Ibrahim marched north, tribes were crushed. Resistance failed. Villages fell. None could stand against his force. As the army approached Mecca, Quraysh realized the truth. They could not fight. They could not defend the house of Allah with strength alone. Abdul Muttalib went out to meet Ibrahim, not to threaten, not to negotiate battle, but to reclaim stolen camels. And when Ibrahim mocked him for not defending the Kaaba, Abdul Muttalib replied with words history would never forget. He said he was the owner of the camels, and the house had its own lord who would protect it.